Before we dive in, drop a quick hi in the comments. It may seem small, but trust me, it really helps YouTube share this story with more sci-fi fans like us. I'd love to see who's watching.
Plasma weapons ready, General. Valen stood at the forward deck, hands behind his back, as the Odin locked targets. Fire, he said. Searing white beams lanced out from the human battleships, ripping through scavenged hulls and welded armor. Shields collapsed in a stuttering blink. Escape vectors scattered, then folded inward. The vacuum lit up with brief, incandescent ruin. The pirate fleet died screaming in every language they knew. Below, the planet burned in patches, the remnants of orbital bombardment already sterilizing pirate ground encampments. There had been no warning, no negotiation. They'd struck a peaceful world at the edge of Andromeda. Humanity responded with doctrine. The Theta units deployed planet-side, faceless, voiceless, perfect. The bunker was gone in under 7 minutes. Some things don't change. War is one of them. The sun above Lunvel bled soft through clouds of ash and shattered treetop spores. Forests were still smoldering. Valen walked the surface with his usual economy of movement. Not to be thanked, not to inspire, just to confirm the mission was complete. The locals were frail, skin translucent under layered bark-like folds. Peaceful, primitive. No words exchanged, just eyes. Then a child no older than 7 by human approximation stepped forward, small hands curled around something. Shyly he opened his hand. A stone. Dark gray. Smoothed by water or time. Unremarkable. He held it up with both hands, eyes wide, and made a gesture that implied that Valen should take it. Valen nodded. He pocketed it, already forgetting it. The Interstellar Defense Contingency Command Node, known simply as HARO, remained in high orbit, cold and quiet, running black-tier operations without a signal trace. Dr. Elias Raucas waited in the lab when Valen arrived. Neural displays cycled behind him, glowing pale green with theta telemetry. TH3's showing pattern drift, Elias said. Valen didn't sit. Is it 9 all over again? No, not yet. But the pattern's familiar. Reflex delays, observation lag, 1 incident of target hesitation. That's how it starts. Valen sighed. Elias continued, still clinical. It's not failure, General. It's the cost. You can't erase what makes a human. Well, a human. Strip away their name, their language, their history, and eventually something tries to grow back. By the way, I've been cataloging rare metals, plant proteins, and resonance materials from every world recorded by the Galactic Council, he said. Most are noise. Some interact with neural fields. But one stood out. Valen didn't look away from the display. Elias keyed in a new grid, the symbol of a compound neither of them had seen in person. Duntrum, he said, cross-referenced from ancient lattice records. Alien comm drift. Abandoned outpost fragments. It has pattern resonance equilibrium. Properties. It's theoretical, but the properties repeat. Valen raised an eyebrow. So? It resonates with biological pattern fields, not input-output response, alignment, internal harmony. It vibrates with the frequency of surrounding systems. Valen turned slightly, still confused. In English, he added, it hums with whatever it's near. It aligns instability. It might stop a theta from becoming another 9. Valen frowned. Where do you get it? Elias brought up the star chart. A single system blinked at the edge. Thorgan. Valen gave a slight wave, dismissing the idea. You're out of your mind. Thorgan doesn't talk, doesn't trade, doesn't kill either, because they don't need to. You show up on their doorstep. They don't warn you. They unmake you. He looked straight at the doctor. I'm not starting a war with godlike beings over a pebble that might not even help. Valen left without another word. Later, in his private quarters, Valen undressed. The air recycled around him, sterile and quiet. The uniform hit the deck in a controlled heap. From one pocket, something rolled out and stopped at his foot. The stone. The child's gift. He stared at it, long enough to remember, not long enough to believe it mattered. He slid it into a containment capsule and sent it with a short voice log to Elias. "Not your miracle medal," he said, "but maybe it'll keep you entertained." 10 minutes later, a junior tech arrived at Elias's lab with the delivery. "From the commander's last drop zone," the tech said. "Said you'd want it." Elias waved him off, already scanning. When the results came up, he stopped breathing. Duntram's signature detected. Confidence level, 98.7%. The scan repeated twice. Same result. He ran to the forge station. The fragment was tiny, barely usable. But enough. Elias crafted the alloy into a simple diapason, harmonic, silent, tuned to low resonance. He activated TH3, seated the unit, monitored vitals, then set the diapason beside him. It vibrated, imperceptible to sound, but not to mind. Neural readings spiked, emotion filters collapsed, pattern drift accelerated. But instead of destabilizing, it clarified. TH3's eyes shifted behind the visor. He turned his head slowly, as if looking. Then he asked, "Where is 9? Elias stared at TH3, eyes wide. "This doesn't fix them," he murmured. "It frees them." The meeting had drained more than it decided. General Valen left the council chamber with High Counselor Tao's words echoing behind his eyes. The insectoid's voice had been all precision and dread, his antennae lowered in what passed for Chikhtari solemnity. "Rumors persist, General. The Thorgan tremble in silence. There are whispers that Navax, the unbeing, has returned. If that is true, balance itself will collapse." Valen had said nothing then. You didn't interrupt a Chikhtari mid-prophecy. You endured it. He walked the length of the transport corridor aboard the Odin, the dreadnought's vibration thrumming faintly through the deck. Beyond the viewport, the stars turned slow. If the Thorgan fractured, every treaty, every fragile piece built over 20 years would vanish overnight. And a war with gods never ended well for mortals. He was back aboard the Harrow 2 hours later. In his quarters, Valen unsealed his collar and rolled his neck until it cracked, a little of the tension bleeding from his shoulders. 48 hours without rest. He needed a shower, he thought. The recycled air tasted like metal and fatigue. He was halfway to the shower when the holo display chimed. Elias's face shimmered into the room, hollow-eyed, breath quick. "General, you need to come to the lab. Now." Valen rubbed the side of his neck. "Can it wait 10 minutes? I need a shower, a reboot." "No," Elias said flatly. "You won't sleep after this anyway." The feed cut. Valen stared at the blank display, muttered a curse, and turned back for the door. The laboratory lights met him with sterile brilliance. Monitors pulsed in green and blue. He expected Elias to be buried in diagnostics, but the voice that greeted him wasn't Elias's. "Welcome back, General Valen." The tone was clear, steady, human. Valen stopped cold. A man, young, unarmored, stood beside the diagnostics chair. Broad shoulders, shorn hair, eyes bright with something dangerously close to curiosity. "You are?" Valen managed. "3, the man said after a pause. "TH3, it's an honor to meet you." Valen turned slowly toward Elias, who stood at the console, arms folded. "Explain," Valen said. Elias sighed as if words were reluctant to form. "The stone you sent me. It contained Duntram traces. I alloyed it, ran a resonance test." He gestured toward 3. "It worked, just not how we expected." Define worked. It removed the suppression lattice entirely. Emotional filters, neural gates, everything. He isn't stabilizing into a better weapon, General. Elias's voice lowered. He's human. Valen's shoulders tensed. Are you saying a stone an alien child gave me as a thank you gift turned one of our best assets into something we can't control? Yes, Elias said, and we need more of it if we're going to fix him. Fix him? Valen asked. He's talking. He's talking, Elias agreed, but his mind is juvenile. Pre-adolescent pattern structure. He's strong, enhanced, but unfocused. He can't fight. He can't be trusted in the field. If we leave him like this, he's a risk to himself and everyone else. 3 stood silently, watching the exchange. There was a faint, unsettled confusion behind his eyes, like someone listening to a language he almost understood. Do you know who you are? Valen asked him. I know. What I was, 3 said softly. But it doesn't feel like me anymore. The answer landed heavy. Valen turned back to Elias. You realize I have no way to get more of that metal. We're 1 rumor away from a war with the Thorgan, and you want me to mine their holy relics? Not relics, Elias said. I traced the resonance signature. The boy who gave you that stone. He didn't find it. He was given it. By a Thorgan. Valen's eyes narrowed. You're sure? Yes. The Thorgan send emissaries sometimes, teachers. Some act as priests, guiding younger species toward equilibrium. The boy from Luneville was part of a training program. He met one of them. And this priest just handed him a piece of Duntram? Apparently. We don't know why. But if that being is still alive, he may have more, and he may know what Duntram really is. You want me to track down a god? Valen said, and ask if he's got any spare rocks. First, Elias said quietly, you'll need to meet the boy, again. Valen looked from Elias to 3, human, breathing, waiting for orders he no longer understood. And if I can't? Elias didn't answer immediately. He only looked back at the data feed, the readout still pulsing in slow rhythm beside 3's silhouette. Then we start losing them, 1 by 1, Elias said. Attention, incoming transmission, Galactic Council, Class 1 emergency priority. The holodisplay lit up without request. A pulse of red flickered behind the council crest, then the image resolved. High Counselor Tao's face appeared. Chitinous frame rigid, mandibles twitching in what might have been alarm. The transmission lagged for half a second. Then his voice came through. General Valen, he said, we are under attack. All defensive protocols have failed. Shield harmonics are non-responsive. Weapons are... He stopped. Behind him, the chamber lights flared. Something blue. Then violet. A shimmer of bioluminescent static wrapped across his form. Some kind of silent energy. Tao froze. His limbs stiffened. Mouthparts locked in mid-speech. His eyes dimmed. His body began to change. From physical to translucent. To nothing. Gone. The transmission didn't cut. It simply emptied. Then something else filled the frame. A figure, not alien in form, but human in shape. An elder. White hair, shoulder length. A beard that reached the collar of robes so fine they looked etched from mist. Skin pale as ancient stone. Eyes impossible to read. He did not announce himself. He simply looked forward, as if he could see through the channel. Humans. One word. No threat in tone, no force behind it. But the sound alone felt ominous. Then he raised his hand. A single wave, the signal collapsed. Harrow's deck lights stuttered. All council-linked displays dimmed in unison. Every connection severed. Dead silence. Elias stood frozen. Not with fear, but with the kind of dread only a scientist feels when the laws stop making sense. Valen exhaled and activated his command channel. Sheldon. Yes, sir. Report. CouncilNet is down across all sectors. Last external ping came from the Guff diplomatic relay. Translated message reads... A pause. The council is gone, sir. Not the hall. Not the system. The members. All of them. Elias slowly turned to Valen. Was that? I don't know, Valen said. But if the rumors are true, that was Navax, the rogue Thorgan. He didn't raise his voice, didn't look shaken, but the name landed like a dropped weapon. Sheldon, how long until the Odin's prepped for departure? 3 hours, General. Good. Wake me then. I'm getting 2 hours sleep. If this war's starting, I want a clear head. Valen turned to Elias. Any other Theta showing 9 symptoms? Elias shook his head. No pattern anomalies yet. Nothing outside containment thresholds. Keep it that way. He started for the lift, then paused and turned toward Elias. You and TH3. You're coming with me. 7 hours later, the Dreadnought Odin, flagship of Earth Strategic Command and Valen's command vessel since Earth joined the Galactic Council 2 decades ago, broke atmosphere over the world known as Lunvel. It was a forest planet, not a metaphor, a canopy world, endless and alive. Trees the size of towers stretched over river-veined valleys, their leaves glistening with iridescent spores that pulsed gently in the breeze. Wildlife moved in silence. Colors shifted with the light, and everything, flora, fauna, wind, and root, seemed to hum in harmony. The Lunvel people didn't mine, didn't hunt. They lived in communion with their world, sharing energy through ritual and practice. Their architecture was grown, not built. Their music wasn't composed, it bloomed. But even paradise isn't immune to orbit. Beneath their forests lay deposits of carithium, the rarest, most stable material used in faster-than-light engine cores. Earth had it. Some colonies had more. But Earth had fleets. Lunvel didn't, which made them a target. Earth had intervened. The pirates were gone. But the world still bore scars. A transport pod from Odin settled onto a raised landing platform, gently overtaken by flowering vines that shifted like curious hands. The air shimmered with gold pollen. The doors opened. General Adric Valen stepped out first, flanked by Dr. Elias Raukis and another human figure, Dr. Daniel Jackson, Earth's top xenolinguist and cultural specialist. Daniel walked with calm poise, a datapad slung over his shoulder, eyes already scanning the plant life as if the vines might speak to him. They might. On Lunvel, everything was halfway between alive and aware. He was younger than Valen by 4 decades, not military, but respected. His parents had been language researchers. He carried their passion like a torch. Behind them, Theta Black did not deploy. TH3 remained aboard Odin, under quiet observation, alongside TH6 and TH7. No weapons would touch the surface. Not this time. They were greeted in a garden, if such a word could contain it. Floral arches overhead bloomed with colors outside human taxonomy. Their scents triggered gentle autonomic responses. Slow pulse, lowered tension, a kind of molecular welcome. A delegation stood waiting. At its center, a Lunvel elder. Tall, folded skin like living bark, irises bioluminescent and steady. His voice resonated like a woodwind tuned to the planet's rhythm. We did not expect your return so soon, General Valen, but we are honored. Valen bowed slightly. No flourish, just respect. We don't come to interfere with your customs, he said, choosing the word carefully. We need information. Something important was given to me by one of your own, a child. Daniel stepped forward, gently prompting the elder. The translation was smooth. The elder's expression softened. He nodded, gesturing with one vine-laced hand. Yes, the boy you speak of is here. The child arrived without fear. Same translucent skin, large, intelligent eyes. The elder explained why Valen had come. The boy still held the memory of the gift. You were given that stone by someone? Elias asked gently. Do you remember who? The boy nodded. He was a teacher. He came to our learning enclave on Ishtar Moon, only for 1 day. And the stone? He gave it to me with a message. Valen's position shifted. What message? The boy spoke with clarity beyond his years. When the human with the black metal gods appears, they will help your planet, and you will give this to him. Silence followed, not out of confusion, out of recognition. So it was on purpose, Elias murmured. Did he give a name? Valen asked. The boy shook his head. No name. We called him Teacher. That is all. Anything else? The boy hesitated, then nodded. He said, he would meet you when the time is due. They didn't press further. Valen thanked the elder and the child, promised no further disruption. When they returned to Odin, an officer met him at the airlock. Sir, orders. Back to the council's coordinates? Valen stared through the viewport. He'd watched a counselor vanish into light and silence. He'd heard Navak speak one word. Now a child said a teacher would return. One more stop first, Valen said. Plot course for Ishtar Moon. 2 cycles later, Odin dropped from FTL above the planet known as Ishtar Moon, a world so unique it earned a name even among species that rarely gave them. The planet itself was nestled within an orbital ring of 7 distinct moons, each with its own gravitational signature, elemental core, and auric field. Together, they created a shield that no species had managed to replicate, an orbital ballet so finely tuned that entering or leaving Ishtar's atmosphere would require pilots with surgical instinct and neural reflexes. And luck. A lot of luck. The moons weren't just satellites, they were sentinels. Their synchronized orbits created constant interference. Comms were scrambled, gravity fluctuated, and signals distorted, depending on which moon stood at zenith position. Dr. Daniel Jackson stood behind them, intrigued rather than alarmed. The species here, Ishtari, they're neutral, pacifist, but they're not weak. Their entire planetary defense grid is tied to that 7-moon array. It's a masterwork of celestial engineering. Valen didn't respond. He knew what mattered. The Ishtari could shut the galaxy out with a blink. And yet, they'd agreed to meet. The first step was protocol. As soon as Odin arrived in orbit, the comms officer sent a coded transmission, the same one provided by the Elder on Lune Vel, a single-use clearance phrase, proof of peaceful intent. 30 seconds passed. No reply, not even static. Valen turned toward the comms console. Are you sure you sent the right message through the right channel? Yes, sir. Confirmed. Then, a chime. The holo display flickered to life. A figure appeared. Tall, thin, no hair, elongated features, eyes like deep crystal lenses, reflecting spectra just outside the human range. His skin shifted color with every word, moving from violet to emerald to cobalt and back again. Greetings, humans, the being said, his voice soft and toneless. You shall pass. And then, the moons responded. All 7 halted in their rotation. Then, as if pulled by unseen hands, 2 shifted aside, creating a gap in the orbital dance. For the first time in recorded history, a safe passage opened. Valen leaned forward. Even Elias blinked. They moved the moons, said the comms officer in awe. The Mons obeyed, Daniel said, almost reverently. Odin descended. There were no gravitational anomalies, no magnetic distortion, no interference, just a flawless corridor, wide enough for a dreadnought. The entry through the atmosphere was like sliding through layers of silk, each stratum with its own density, hue, and scent. Clouds shimmered. Pressure fields bent gently around the hull. No turbulence, just a descent into something designed. Then the planet emerged, and what they saw stopped every word in the command deck. Columns, marble, temples like ancient Earth. The surface architecture resembled ancient Greece, towering structures of stone, carved with symbols that predated Earth's first civilizations. Pillars, archways, amphitheaters. Water flowed through terraced channels. Music lingered, unplayed. Daniel spoke first. "This is impossible. This is human." A welcoming party approached. At its head, a man, or something that looked like one, tall, draped in robes, dark hair to the shoulders. His robes had gold-trimmed threading. His features were unmistakably human. Daniel stepped forward. "You're human?" The being smiled. "We were. But this is an illusion," he said gently. "We use forms you understand. You wouldn't survive seeing us as we are." Elias frowned. "You've been here since eons, since Earth's gods walked. They brought us, or we brought them. The memory is mutual." He paused. "But you didn't come for myths. You came for answers." "The being who gave the child the stone," Valen interrupted. "We were told he was here, a teacher." The man nodded. "His name is Astheros." Valen continued. "And where do we find him?" "You don't. He finds you, if he wishes. He has no attachment to linear time, or space, or identity." Elias was quiet a moment. "You said, species like yours don't anchor to reality the way others do." The man nodded again. "Yes, we adapted to this place, but we are not bound to it. We see across folds." "And the rogue Thorgan?" Valen asked. "Navax. Do you know what he's done?" The being's face didn't change. "We don't fight." "Convenient," Valen said sharply. "No," the being replied. "Necessary. The balance must remain. When something disrupts it, something else emerges to counter. That's why your kind must exist." Valen crossed his arms. "So our kind, the ones that wage a war, is your solution to entropy?" "Not war. Struggle. Opposition creates meaning. Without resistance, there is no motion. Without motion, no growth." "I'm not here for philosophy," Valen snapped. "I'm here for something real. Tactics, weapons, allies. What do you have to stop Navax? You." Silence. Elias tried to ease the tension. "He's grateful," he said to the being. "Just not diplomatic." The man's eyes shifted toward someone else. TH3 stood behind them, silent, watching, breathing like a man, moving like a soldier. The being looked at him and said, "He is halfway through." Elias turned sharply. "What do you mean by that?" The being only smiled. "You'll know. Soon." Valen had heard enough. He turned toward the Odin without another word. "Council world. Now." The ship lifted off moments later, through layers of air that shimmered with memory and silence. Behind them, the moons began to move once more. 3 light cycles out from Ishtar Moon, the dreadnought Odin cruised through slipspace toward the Galactic Council Core. The ship ran silent. Crew spoke only when needed. Everyone aboard knew how fast quiet could turn into combat. The voice came from the tactical pit. "Multiple signatures dropping out of FTL. 6 of them. Core vessels. Formation pattern. Delta." Valen stepped forward, boots steady on the deck. "They're moving fast." Another officer snapped up from his console. "They've locked targeting arrays." The sentence never finished. The Odin shuddered under impact, shields flaring white as plasma bursts hammered across her flanks. Sparks burst from overhead conduits. Klaxon screamed to life, pulsing red against the ceiling grid. The core hadn't hailed. They hadn't warned. They'd come out of FTL firing, the galaxy's universal signal for war. "Return fire," Valen ordered. Calm, unshaken. The bridge surged into motion. Interfaces awoke as the crew triggered countermeasures in rapid succession. Targeting arcs flared across the main holosphere, red over blue, symbols cascading in synchronized fury. Outside, the void ignited. From the Odin's port batteries, twin lances of compressed plasma ripped into space, slamming into the nearest core frigate. Its forward armor peeled back under the force, venting atmosphere and crew alike. A heartbeat later, its reactor overloaded. A brief flare. Then nothing. 5 remaining, an officer called. Keep pressure, Valen said. No pursuit. Let them come. The core pack adjusted, flanking hard, scattering wide like wolves circling a lion. Their hulls shimmered with scale-forged plating, ships bred for ambush and speed. But the Odin wasn't prey. She was a fortress. And this fortress hunted back. A destroyer broke formation, slipping in behind the Odin's stern at low angle. "Rear approach, 14 degrees," barked the helm officer. "They're in torpedo range." Valen didn't shout. "Spin us starboard. Dorsal line on my mark." The Odin rotated clean through slipspace drag, unnatural grace for a vessel her size. Dorsal turrets reoriented in a sweep. "Mark!" A full broadside fired. Incandescent plasma tore across the void. The destroyer's bow exploded instantly, followed by its spine. The rest of the ship scattered like glass through gravity shear. No distress call. No survivors. Above them, another cruiser dove fast, angling belly down. Energy spikes lit across its underside, heat signatures flaring like a predator's fangs. It fired. A heavy plasma beam slammed into the Odin's shields, scarring them in a ripple of boiling light. The deflectors held barely, but the hull beneath groaned under the pressure. Damage markers flared across the internal display. "Shields holding at 68%, someone called. "No hull breach. Forward cannons locked." Valen gave the order. "Now." From the Odin's spine, a single retaliatory beam lanced out. Wide, slow-burning, bright as a newborn sun. It cored the core cruiser dead through the midsection. The vessel bent inward, imploded, then scattered to atoms. 3 left. Finish them. The remaining core ships broke formation. One pushed forward, one flanked hard to port, and the last... "Sir," a voice said, "the third's turning to run." Valen didn't blink. "Track their vector. End it." The cannon fired once. There was no second shot. The fleeing ship vanished in the bloom of light. The void went still. Silent. Final. On the command deck, only the steady pulse of systems remained, broken finally by the flicker of static across the hollow display. Then, it cleared. A face appeared. Slit-pupilled eyes, golden-green scales glinting under artificial light. The insignia of the council shimmered faintly behind him, warped and wrong. Ratan Mar, Core Tactician. Now High Counselor. "General Valen," he said, voice low and dry. "Your response was efficient." "You could have sent a message," Valen replied. "We did," Ratan said. "We simply sent it with teeth." The council insignia glowed behind him, corrupted by something darker, and in that light, Valen saw it. Loyalty not to a council of voices, but to one. Navax, the unbeing. Ratan straightened. By decree of the new order, under the eye of Navax, Earth's access to the council has been revoked. All rights, all protections, effective immediately. "You've sided with him." Silence stretched between them. The Corps' expression didn't change. "It isn't personal, General," Ratan said. "It's survival." Then the transmission died. No one moved. Elias exhaled slowly beside him. So it began. Valen watched the last remnants of the destroyed core fleet drift like ash through the dark. His hands stayed steady. His thoughts did not. "No," he said quietly. "It began the moment we let monsters speak for peace." He keyed his comm. "Set course for the Harrow." There was a pause, then the helmsman's voice. "Plotted, sir. Engines ready." "Engage." The Odin turned silently in the stars, engines flaring blue against the dark. The Odin docked with the Harrow just under 4 hours after the last core ship was reduced to drifting wreckage. The dreadnought's massive spine locked into the Harrow's orbital cradle, magnetic clamps engaging with a deep, resonant thud that echoed through the airlocks. General Valen disembarked in silence. Flanking him were Dr. Elias Rox, Daniel Jackson, and the Theta units assigned to the mission. With his helmet off and his gaze unreadable, his silence unsettled everyone around him. As they passed through the docking corridor, a junior officer jogged to intercept them. "Sir," he said, straightening his uniform, "there's a visitor. He's waiting in the main council hall." Valen stopped mid-stride. "Visitor?" "Yes, sir. He arrived. Not by shuttle. No records. Just appeared. Alone. Requested you by name." Elias blinked. "Appeared?" "Define appeared," Valen said. "It happened. Just like that," the officer said. "And sir, he looks like us." Valen looked at Elias. Elias looked at TH3, TH6, and TH7. Jackson was already reaching for the translation subroutines on his forearm interface, just in case. "Show us," Valen said. They followed the officer through the corridors of the Harrow. The halls were quiet, even for Black Tier protocols. Security teams stood down, though no order had been given. Lights dimmed slightly with each section they passed, as if the station itself was holding its breath. The meeting hall doors hissed open, and there, at the center of the chamber, sat someone who appeared perfectly at ease, waiting. He looked human. More than that, he looked familiar. Long white hair fell to his shoulders, and a beard of equal length framed a face that seemed both ancient and untouched by time. His robes shimmered faintly with inner light. His presence radiated calm, but there was something beneath it, something old. He smiled as they entered. "General Valen," he said, his voice serene. "Dr. Rox, Daniel Jackson, TH3, 6, and 7. He even bowed his head slightly. "My name," he said, "is Asteros." The name struck through the air like a tuning fork. Valen didn't speak right away. Nor did Elias. Even Jackson, who had met 100 species, spoke in every dialect in the council library, said nothing. TH3 stepped slightly forward, not with aggression, but with recognition. Asteros looked at him with gentle curiosity, then back to the others. "I believe you have questions," he said. "I've come to give you what answers I can." His tone was not arrogant, not condescending, just final. Valen crossed his arms, then started talking.
Hey there, space human. I'm really curious about your thoughts on this video. Drop a quick comment and let me know what's on your mind. Or just say hi if you prefer. Either way, I'd love to hear from you. Also, remember to check the pinned comment. Trust me, it's worth a look. Oh, and one last thing. I've chosen another video for you to watch. Just click the card here, or here if you want the whole playlist. See you there.